As you might have heard, Marvel has pushed back two of its biggest upcoming movies, but don't worry, there's still plenty to look forward to. Let's take a look at what's coming next from Marvel Studios. There's a whole lineup of exciting projects on the way, some we've been waiting on for a while, and others that are still totally under wraps. From new Spider-Man adventures to fresh takes on our favorite heroes, plus a few curveballs we didn't see coming. So whether you're in it for the epic team-ups or those mysterious solo missions, here's the full rundown of what we know so far. Spider-Man Brand New Day, July 31st, 2026. Right after Spider-Man No Way Home hit theaters, Kevin Feige wasted no time confirming that Marvel Studios and Sony were already cooking up a fourth Spider-Man movie for the MCU. Producer Amy Pascal had even hinted at a whole new trilogy on the way, although Sony's CEO kind of backpedaled on that during the LA premiere. Still, let's be honest, No Way Home ended in a way that clearly left the door wide open for Peter Parker to keep swinging through the MCU. Peter's got a lot on his plate now. He's basically been erased from everyone's memory, so he's working with a clean slate. But that also means he has to rebuild everything, including Spider-Man's reputation. And let's not forget that leftover blob of Venom goo chilling in Mexico. That's definitely not nothing. By early 2023, Feige said they had a story in mind, but he didn't spill much else. Fast forward to summer, after Across the Spider-Verse came out, Pascal shared that more Spider-Man-related projects were brewing, including one with Tom Holland. But things kind of paused for a bit because of the writer's strike. Then, in 2024, Tom Holland gave an update saying the team was still trying to crack the story, but a few months later, he sounded way more confident, saying the script was almost ready and they'd probably start filming in 2025. Around the same time, Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Cretton was reportedly in talks to direct, and by the end of October, Sony made it official. Cretton was in, and the movie was coming in July 2026. It's also the only confirmed MCU movie between the two upcoming Avengers blockbusters, though there's a chance more could drop around late 2026 or early 2027. In March 2025, Stranger Things star Sadie Sink joined the cast in a mystery role, which of course set the internet on fire with guesses. Some thinking she'll be Jean Grey, others thinking she might be Jackpot, a character Peter once mistook for MJ in the comics. Sony later confirmed the movie's subtitle, Brand New Day. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's named after a comic storyline where Peter makes a deal with Mephisto and ends up with a totally new status quo. So it makes sense that the film could focus on Peter dealing with the fallout of his huge decision at the end of No Way Home. Even though some fans are expecting another multiverse-heavy story, this could actually be a more grounded take. Peter might just be trying to get his life together while rubbing elbows, or possibly butting heads, with street-level heroes like Daredevil and Hawkeye. Plus, there's always the chance Wilson Fisk steps in as the new big threat. And whatever role Sadie Sink's playing, it sounds like she's going to be one of Spidey's new allies, maybe even part of his tight-knit crew of amazing friends. Avengers Doomsday, December 18th, 2026. This fifth Avengers movie looks like it's going to kick off the endgame, pun fully intended, for the Multiverse Saga, assuming Marvel's still calling it that by then. Back in July 2022, word got out that Shang-Chi's Destin Daniel Cretton would be directing, and not long after that, Quantumania writer Jeff Loveness joined the team to write the script. He even teased that this one would be a total bloodbath and help pass the torch to a new generation of Avengers. But things shifted in 2023. Both Cretton and Loveness left the project, and Marvel brought in Loki writer Michael Waldron to take over. Then, at San Diego Comic-Con in 2024, Feige dropped the mic. The Russo brothers, who directed Infinity War and Endgame, were coming back to direct, not just Doomsday, but the next one too. And here's where it gets even wilder. The new big bad is none other than Doctor Doom, played by Robert Downey Jr. It sounds like this Doom isn't the Tony Stark we knew, but an alternate version from another Earth. Maybe even the same reality as the Fantastic Four. Marvel's playing the long game with multiverse connections, and this version of Doom might be the one pulling the strings behind all the chaos. In late 2024, rumors started flying that Chris Evans might return, though no one's sure if he'd be Steve Rogers, Johnny Storm, or some wild multiverse variant. Haley Atwell's name came up too, which really got fans thinking we might see Steve and Peggy together again, Endgame style. But Evans later said he wasn't involved, which might just be Marvel trying to keep surprises under wraps. Then in March 2024, Marvel live-streamed a cast reveal that basically broke the internet. It was just a camera rolling past a massive row of director's chairs with cast members' names on them. And yeah, there were a bunch of familiar names: Paul Rudd, Chris Hemsworth, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, the Thunderbolts cast, the Fantastic Four, Simu Liu, Tom Hiddleston, and even OG X-Men legends like Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. And at the very end, Robert Downey Jr. sitting in his chair giving the camera a shush. But notably missing from the list? Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Holland, Chris Evans, and Haley Atwell. Suspiciously missing if you ask us. This Doom probably isn't from Earth 616, and his story could tie into whatever Loki's been up to with the timeline. Maybe Doom ends up being the ultimate threat to the multiverse itself, or maybe he's just the most dangerous player in a bigger game. Either way, we're expecting this film to be stacked with massive crossovers, surprise cameos, and some real emotional gut punches. Oh, and if this is the last hurrah for the Fox-era X-Men, it's bound to be a big one. SpiderMan Beyond the Spider-Verse, June 4th, 2027. Haley Steinfeld, who voices Gwen Stacy, just gave fans a long-awaited update on SpiderMan Beyond the Spider-Verse, and it sounds like things are finally rolling. After a ton of delays, the final chapter in Miles Morales' animated trilogy is now set to hit theaters in June 2027. It's been a bit of a wait since Across the Spider-Verse left us all hanging, but now that Steinfeld's back in the recording booth, things are definitely moving along. In a recent MTV interview, she shared that she's been recording lines for the movie, and while she didn't spill too much, her tone made it clear. She's excited, and she trusts the process. That's saying a lot considering how ambitious these films are. So what does all this mean for the movie? Basically, if they're recording dialogue now, the production has passed some major hurdles. It's also a sign that the team behind the Spider-Verse movies, who've already set a pretty high bar with their visual style and storytelling, is pushing even further. There's been talk about potential live-action elements in this one, which could be part of why they needed more time to get everything right. Animation alone takes ages, especially when you're trying to outdo what you did before. Every Spider-Verse film has taken things up a notch stylistically, so it's no surprise this one needs extra time. With Haley Steinfeld working again, it's likely that the rest of the cast is also back in the booth, meaning we're getting closer to seeing how Miles' story wraps up. Even though the plot is still under wraps, Steinfeld's enthusiasm says a lot. The fact that she's excited and involved makes it easier for fans to stay patient. Hopefully, once Sony gets deeper into production in 2025, we'll start getting actual footage, maybe even a teaser by the end of the year. Avengers Secret Wars, December 17th, 2027. Wrapping up Phase 6 and the entire Multiverse Saga, Secret Wars is shaping up to be Marvel's next big mic drop. The name alone carries a lot of weight, since Marvel's already done 2 iconic Secret Wars storylines in the comics. The first one had a cosmic being called the Beyonder dragging heroes and villains to Battleworld just to watch them fight. Classic. The second version was a little deeper. It involved multiversal incursions, collapsed realities, and Doctor Doom becoming the god of everything. It even ended with Miles Morales joining the main Marvel universe, which could be huge if Marvel wants to bring him into the MCU. Michael Waldron, who worked on Loki, signed on to write this one back in 2022, but it's still unclear if his script is the one the Russos will actually use. At SDCC 2024, Anthony Russo said that the original Secret Wars comic was what got him into Marvel as a kid, and now he wants to bring that same energy to the big screen. Whatever Doom ends up doing in Doomsday, it's all going to come to a head here. We could see the MCU completely reshaped after this film, maybe new timelines, different teams, or even major character reboots. And if Marvel's going all in, don't be surprised if the X-Men animated series theme makes another triumphant comeback in the post-credits. Also, here's a fun thought. The original Secret Wars comic is where Spider-Man first got his black suit. So if that little piece of venom from No Way Home finally finds its way to Peter, well, things could get very interesting. Blade TBD. Blade has been through a lot. When Marvel first revealed that Mahershala Ali would take on the role back in 2019, it felt like a huge deal. Fast forward a few years, and the movie's been stuck in development limbo. The project originally had Stacey Osei-Kuffour writing and Bassam Tariq directing, with a PG-13 rating planned from the start. Then, Delroy Lindo joined the cast, and there was buzz that he might be playing Jamal Afari, Blade's comic book mentor. But then, everything hit a wall. Tariq stepped away in 2022, and that delay set off a domino effect. Eventually, Jan Demange stepped in as director, with Michael Starbury taking a stab at a new script. More changes followed. Mia Goth joined the cast, and Nick Pizzolatto, the guy behind True Detective, started working on another script. Production was supposed to start in May 2023, but the writer's strike shut that down fast. And just as the strike was wrapping up, the actors joined in. Blade got bumped again. Even after the strikes were over, the project couldn't catch a break. Demange left in early 2024, and now Marvel's back to searching for a director. Most of the cast has reportedly been let go from their contracts, except for Goth and Ali, who are still committed to the film. Eric Pearson is writing the latest draft, and the setting has shifted from being a period piece to taking place in modern-day MCU. What's wild is that Marvel didn't even mention Blade at their big 2024 Comic-Con or D23 presentations. Instead, it quietly disappeared from the 2025 release schedule, swapped out for a new Predator movie. So right now, Blade is on indefinite hold, but Kevin Feige insists that Marvel still wants to bring the character into the MCU. When it finally happens, Blade is expected to bring monsters and supernatural threats into the Marvel Universe, stuff we haven't really seen much of. He even made a voice cameo in Eternals, warning Dane Whitman about taking up the Ebony Blade. So, there's a clear intention to link Blade with some of the darker corners of the MCU. It just remains to be seen when, or how, that'll actually come together. Shang-Chi 2 TBA. Back in December 2021, Marvel confirmed that Destin Daniel Cretton would return to direct a Shang-Chi sequel. Fans were excited, especially since Simu Liu's debut as the character had been such a hit. And of course, we expected familiar faces like Awkwafina's Katie and Menger Zhang's Ji Lang to return, with her now in charge of the Ten Rings. There's also been a lot of speculation about where the story might go. Remember that mysterious signal being broadcast into space from the Ten Rings at the end of the first movie? That has major implications, and some fans think it could attract an alien race, or maybe it's just a clever distraction while the Ten Rings organization regains power. Plus, if Xia Ling is stepping into a crime boss role, she might end up clashing with big players like Sharon Carter or Kingpin. Things got murkier in 2023. Cretton was originally supposed to work on Avengers the Kang Dynasty, but he stepped away to focus on Shang-Chi 2. Then, in a twist, it turns out he'll be directing the next SpiderMan movie instead. Simu Liu even joked in mid-2024 that the sequel keeps getting delayed as Marvel changes up its long-term plans. As of now, Marvel hasn't officially confirmed Shang-Chi 2 is still moving forward, but there's hope. Liu showed up at Kevin Feige's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony, which suggests there's still some connection between him and Marvel. And since Disney announced new Marvel release dates through 2028, it's very possible we'll see Shang-Chi back in theaters in a few years. Black Panther 3 TBA. There hasn't been a ton of official news about Black Panther 3, but in November 2024, Denzel Washington casually mentioned on an Australian morning show that Ryan Coogler was writing a part for him in the movie. Marvel stayed quiet at first, but then they sort of confirmed the movie's happening when executive Nate Moore left the studio and Kevin Feige mentioned the next Black Panther in his farewell message. That's about as close to a confirmation as we've gotten. It's still unclear if Coogler is officially on board or if Denzel's really joining the cast. We also don't know who from the previous films will return or what the storyline might look like. If Shuri is still Black Panther and ruling Wakanda, the movie could connect to a bunch of ongoing MCU plots, from the search for adamantium to the growing tension with Talokan. It's all pretty open-ended at this point, but with Black Panther being one of Marvel's most successful franchises, it's hard to imagine they won't move forward eventually. The XMen TBA. Now here's the one fans have been waiting on forever. After the writer's strike ended in late 2023, reports started surfacing that Marvel was finally taking pitches for an X-Men movie. It's very early, and it's expected to arrive in Phase 7, assuming Marvel still plans things out in phases. In May 2024, Michael Leslie, who worked on The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, was announced as the writer tasked with bringing Marvel's mutants to the big screen. There's no word yet on the team lineup, but considering how well X-Men 97 has done, that classic 90s roster is a strong possibility. That would mean characters like Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, Beast, and Wolverine, all fan favorites, could make up the core group. Kevin Feige has said that the X-Men are a big part of Marvel's future storytelling, but they likely won't appear until after Secret Wars. So while it might feel like a long wait, the wheels are definitely turning behind the scenes. And when they finally arrive, the mutants are bound to shake up the MCU in a big way. And that's a wrap for today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Got ideas for future videos? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you want to see next. Don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop. If you're into Marvel, DC, or just love movie updates in general, subscribing means you won't miss a thing. It also helps the channel grow, especially since YouTube's been showing our videos to more awesome viewers like you.